Good afternoon. I trust you're having a lovely Friday so far. Well, here at KBC Channel 1, we have a comprehensive bulletin lined up for you this afternoon. Some of the issues that we'll be taking a look at are matters politics, education, security, COVID-19, and so much more. My name is Jacky Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter is Simon Karutha. And now, remember, you can interact with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 or at Jacky Wambiru. Now, to kick us off, let's head over to the BBI Secretariat offices, whereby ODM leader Raila Odinga is receiving the BBI forms from different regions, whereby the signatures are said to have hit 5 million. Well, now let's listen in. A report later on. But for now, let's move on, whereby Busia County Governor Sospita Ojamong has urged county health workers not to participate in the planned nationwide strike set to begin Monday. Ojamong says his administration is ready for dialogue over issues raised by medics. The county boss, in pleading with the caregivers, called for sobriety in a bid to avert a looming health crisis, which he says could hamper the country's efforts to manage the COVID-19 pandemic.
Busia County Boss Sospita Ojamong is calling for dialogue between health workers and his administration to avert a looming health crisis. Ojamong is calling for medics in Busia to give Monday's planned strike a wide berth, saying Kenya risks negating strides made in combating the COVID-19 pandemic.
Tutaendelea kufanya mazungumzo na wafanyikazi wa idara ya afya kuona kwamba yale ambayo wamekuwa wakisitiza ya kwamba ifanyike kabla wasitishe huu mgomo ambao wataka kuanza inafanyika. Lakini kuna yale ambayo tumeona pia haiwezi ikafanyika, kama kuajiri madaktari 2,000, kuajiri wa clinical officers 3,000 na wauguzi manases 7,000, kwa sababu inahitaji fedha.
The governor saying the county is in talks with the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority to supply personal protective equipment to counties on credit, urging for patience among the caregivers.
Tumekubaliana kwamba watakuwa wanatupea zile personal protective equipment ambao ziko na quality, lakini tutawalipa baadaye. Kwa hivyo wafanyikazi wa idara ya afya waendelee na kazi yao.
The health workers have vowed to down their tools should the government fail to meet their irreducible minimums, which include adequate protection from COVID-19.
County zote mgao ya mwisho ambao walipata ilikuwa ya mwezi wa Agosti. Na saa hizi tuko mwezi wa Disemba. Kwa hivyo tunapitia kwa ile hali ngumu kama counties. Hatuwezi tukapeana huduma ambazo zinatakikana kwa wananchi vile inavyotakikana.
Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
And now on to education matters. Controversy continues to dog a plan to increase university tuition fees threefold, with Education Chief Administrative Secretary Jacky Wambiru opposing the planned increment. Kenothie is warning the planned increment from 16,000 to 48,000 shillings per year would see some students forced to drop out of school.
Kenothie said the move will make it difficult for the current and aspiring learners to pursue university education due to the increased fee burden. His remarks came hours after it emerged that National Treasury, university vice-chancellors as well as members of parliament are reported to have endorsed the proposal, which, if approved, will pave way for an increase in tuition fees per student by 32,000 shillings.
If this were to be as is proposed, it would be so painful, and it would crush the millions of dreams of our young people who are already in college, in the university, who hope to join university in the future to transform their lives.
Currently, universities are underfunded at a 60% rate against the required 80%, a move that has over the years plunged the institutions into a crisis. Education CS Professor George Magoha on Thursday assured Paris that the government is yet to agree on the proposed increment, appealing for calm as the matter is currently under deliberations.
Now, Turkana County leaders now want the government to beef up security in the region following increased cases of banditry attacks in Kapedo. Governor Josephat Nenok and County Assembly Speaker Erastus Lokale allege that banditry attacks are also on the rise in Lomelo and Napei Tom. Elsewhere in Mandera County, clan elders have called for peaceful coexistence between communities living in the area following perennial clashes that have claimed 10 lives. Now, moving on, residents in Maral Town in Samburu County are appealing to both levels of government to fix the sewerage plant in the area amid fears of being exposed to waterborne diseases. The residents are calling for the purchase of more exhausters to unclog the drainage, saying currently there is only one exhauster owned by the county that serves the entire region.
The situation in Maralal Town in Samburu County. The residents are living in fear of contracting cholera, typhoid and malaria owing to the stagnated sewage water. They say the town has no sewer line and depends on only one county-owned exhauster, while big buildings and businesses have opted to construct septic tanks that get filled within a short time. NEMA Environmental Director Patrick Lekenit asked residents to ensure there is no careless discharge of liquid waste into the environment as the county hastens to come up with ways to channel the waste elsewhere.
Samburu County Government wanajaribu kutafuta ardhi ambayo hiyo majitaka itakuwa inaenda kwa mfereji. Nyinyi pia mnatakana mchukue jukumu la kuhakikisha kwamba majitaka haiko kwa mazingira.
They are now demanding the county invest in a proper sewer line and improve drainage facilities.
Allow me to take a step back. Turkana County leaders now want the government to beef up security in the region following increased cases of banditry attacks in Kapedo. Governor Josephat Nenok and County Assembly Speaker Erastus Lokale alleged that banditry attacks are also on the rise in Lomelo and Napei Tom. Elsewhere in Mandera County, clan elders have called for peaceful coexistence between communities living in the area following perennial clashes that has claimed 10 lives.
Speaking during the swearing-in ceremony for county executives, Turkana Governor Josephat Nenok decried increased cases of insecurity in Lomelo, Napei Tom, Kapedo and Lokwamosing along the county borders with Baringo and West Pokot counties.
Wezi wa mifugo ni machachani wengine. Amani siyo kitu mzuri kwa mwizi ya mfugo, siyo kitu mzuri kwa mchochezi. Kwa hivyo anajaribu njia yote ya kujaribu kuharibu. Najua county commissioner na security team wamefanya yale wamefanya. Mimi nitawauliza waongezee zaidi.
Nafikiri ni muhimu tutoe hakikisho kwa hawa wananchi, kwa vile sisi kama viongozi wao tunabeba mzigo mkubwa zaidi. They are now blaming us that nyinyi mnaenda huko Baringo mnaongea mambo ya amani ilhali sisi tunauliwa hapa nyumbani.
The region has in the recent months enjoyed calmness, but cases of livestock theft and killings of herders are on the rise.
Ng'ombe juzi zimeibiwa, mbuzi. Askari wamelala sutatu kwa kichaka. Jana wamepata mbuzi 700, mbuzi 200 na kondoo 100. Ikarudishwa, so hiyo haikuenda na watu. Kwa hivyo tumaanisha serikali security inafanya kazi yake.
Elsewhere in Mandera County, clan elders held an inter-clan forum in Mandera Town in a bid to quell inter-clan clashes that has resulted in death of 10 people.
Let us sit down, we reason out together, tuongee pamoja, tumeleta mazurutani wote wa hizo ukombili ili waweze kuongea pamoja. Na viongozi wao wako pale. Hata wabunge watakuwa wanaungana na sisi ili tuhakikishe kwamba kwetu kuna amani.
Hii shida inaletwa na wafugaji, wale wafugaji pale, hiko yote shida inakwanga. Tunataka kumaliza hii shida ambayo iko kati ya hii jamii mbili na asirudi na asikufe watu wengine. Sasa hii kifo kiko karibu watu 10.
The elders want the government to take action on persons who are using social media platforms to incite violence among clans. This even as Garissa Governor Ali Korane denied accusation of stoking violence between communities living along the Garissa and Isiolo border. On Wednesday, MPs from Isiolo and Tana River counties accused the governor of making remarks bordering on incitement, even as they called on Interior Ministry to intervene and avert looming inter-ethnic clash.
Borana ni ndugu zetu, tumekuwa jirani 140 years, tumeishi pamoja, tunataka kuishi pamoja, hatuwezi kutengana, tutaishi pamoja na kuwa jirani maisha na milele. Hata tukiwana watu 1000 bado tutarudiana, tuishi kwa amani. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa yangu ya kwanza. Ya pili, nilisema ya kwamba sisi tumepoteza watu 70. Na tuwezi kubali kuendelea kupoteza watu. Kwa sababu sasa kutakuwa na social uprising kama watu 70 wamefika.
Kevin Washira, Lunchtime News.
And in the political arena, Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria has threatened to oppose the Building Bridges initiative should proposals seeking amendments to the document fail to see the light of day. Kuria spoke even as a section of leaders from Garissa County pleaded with the drafters of the BBI to amend some of the contentious proposals contained in the report.
Gatundu South legislator Moses Kuria says the clamour for constitutional review risks falling flat if it fails to accommodate all voices. The lawmaker has argued that to avoid such a scenario, drafters of the document must create room for further amendments.
Lakini hatuwezi kuwa tunaongeza wabunge kwa upande moja na upande mwingine tunafuta watu katika idara zingine. Sisi kama wabunge lazima tuongoze. And we must take the high moral ground and stand on a high moral pedestal and lead by example.
Kuria's sentiments were echoed by a section of leaders from Garissa County.
Lakini hiyo si kusema ya kwamba sisi pia hatuna masikitiko ama hatukuwa na mahitaji ambacho tulikuwa tunataka ikiweko katika BBI ambaye haiko. Lakini tutaendelea tukiongea tukiwa ndani ya BBI na tukisukuma tuone ya kwamba sisi tumepata kugawanywa kwa kiti ya ijara. Tutasema hapa, tutasema kule, tutasema kila mahali ya kwamba hiyo kiti tunaihitaji, lakini kwa sababu yake hatuwezi kupinga chochote.
The leaders spoke even as a BBI signature collection drive continued to gain momentum across the country.
Watu wa Machakos, Makueni na Kitui wameonyesha kweli kabisa wako tayari kupitisha katiba hii. If the collection of the signatures that have been appended is anything to go by.
BBI iko na mambo mazuri kwetu. BBI inalete county funds from 15% to 35%. BBI inalete ward fund. BBI inalete more women members of parliament, 47 kwa Senate, na wengine wataingia tu through nomination or through winning the seat.
This even as a section of Nakuru residents called for the split of Naivasha to create another constituency. Meanwhile, Baringo Senator Gideon Moi took the BBI gospel to Embu County, where he urged leaders to clearly state their stand on the proposed constitutional review.
We cannot be atikatikati tuseme tunaenda atuendi tutapi hapana. You know, wacha nieleze nyinyi kwa lugha ya Kimombo. You cannot be a little bit pregnant. Are we together? You've understood? Either or. So kwa hii, yes or no?
The Baringo senator spoke even as former Nairobi County Assembly Speaker chided those opposed to the BBI.
And if indeed they think they can overturn the destiny of Kenyans, I ask them to come on. But I want to say the consensus has been done already.
Yusuf Far, Channel 1 News.
Now that report brings us to a break here on Channel 1 Lunchtime News. For now, we take a short break. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys.
Enjoy the magic of Christmas with Coca-Cola.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua pizza. Shilingi mbili unaweza nunua microwave. Shilingi tano unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
And welcome back. Now, let's proceed to the BBI Secretariat offices whereby Raila Odinga earlier on received the BBI forms from different regions, and the signatures are said to have hit 5 million. We join our reporter Gladys Mungai for more details. Gladys, kindly bring us to speed.
Good afternoon, Jackie. We are indeed coming to you live from the BBI Secretariat offices here in Nairobi County, where ODM leader Raila Odinga was receiving BBI signature forms that have come from different regions in the country. And we have had coordinators presenting those forms to Raila Odinga. And the news up to this moment is that the BBI signature collection drive has hit 5 million. And according to the Prime Minister, they're expecting that by the end of the day, the drive will have hit 6 million. And by the time the region, or rather the BBI team, gets to take the forms to the IEBC team, they'll have hit about 10 million signatures. One of the takeaways from this event is that the former premier has ruled out chances of having an uncontested referendum, saying that those castigating the drive must pick a side, and there is no room for consensus building to ensure that we have a referendum that has no opposing sides. And to just shed more light onto this particular event, I'm joined by the regional coordinator for the Nyanza region. His name happens to be Bob Madanji. He'll be speaking to us about Nyanza region. Jacky, and to our viewers, has emerged as one of the regions that have recorded high number of signed forms in this BBI signature drive. And he'll be telling us, wake up Bob on our set. This is KBC's Channel 1. We are live. Yeah. And I'll just like you to shed more light to our viewers. We've had different voices castigating the whole BBI process, some opposing, some proposing that it is indeed a good drive. And we have had Nyanza region emerge as one of the regions that has recorded almost 1 million signatures in less than a week. What happened? How did you guys manage to do that?
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to talk to wananchi all over the world. I want to tell Kenyans that Kenyans were not really, they were not against the whole idea, but they were not well informed. They had a lot of mixed mind. There are those who are mixing up their ideas, their minds with a lot of ideas. When we went to the ground, like in our region, we had to go through the radios to educate our people the goodness of BBI and why they should append their signatures and why they should do it in the shortest time possible. And then we also sent our people to churches. We called church leaders in a forum, and even educationalists in a forum. And particular thing. We did it in Siaya, we did it in Homa Bay, we did it in Migori, we did it in Kisumu. And that is why we got a good turnout. We enlightened them. But the only thing that really impressed me was that the turnout of the youth and mothers were quite marvelous. And they were very, very happy, given that if we have a change of constitution, their sons and daughters who go to university will have to attain their university, start work before they start paying back their loans. And more so, their sons and daughters, after graduating, if they start their own businesses, they'll take about 7 years before they start paying taxes. And this made so many people to respond to it very fast, and they said, bring it to us, we sign. Bring it us to sign. And it forced us even to split up the books. Within one area, you'd find one book being split into 10. And we garnered so many votes, signatures because of that.
By the end of the day, we'll see the BBI going to Mwananchi level, the grassroots, yes, to have the electorate vote for the referendum. What is your game plan?
Our game plan is to make sure that a common Mwananchi understands it better, and we want to take these copies back. We want to make sure that each and every Kenyan gets a copy of the BBI. We shall highlight for them areas of concern, and the adjusted bill will also be highlighted to them so that nobody goes to confuse them. This is the future of Kenyans, and this is the time for change. And above all, the business community was so impressed that they will not see the signs of war anymore. After the election, there'll be peace and business will take on as usual.
Thank you. There you have it, Jacky. Those are sentiments from one of the key coordinators in this BBI signature collection drive. And from this event, we've also heard from the leadership of the National Assembly, that being Amos Kimunya, as well as James Orengo from the Senate. And what leaders from Parliament are saying is that the referendum bill will be passed before the House resumes from recess. That is on February next year. That is the latest from the BBI Secretariat offices. Back to you, Jacky.
Well, thank you so much, Gladys Mungai. They're shedding a light on the BBI collection signature drive. Now, moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta has reiterated the need for the country to come up with futuristic ideas to manage the social and economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. The head of state was speaking during the launch of the county COVID-19 socio-economic re-engineering recovery strategy for 2020, 2021 to 2022 to to 2023 financial years, which seeks to boost economic recovery in the counties following the shocks of the COVID-19 pandemic. The event also saw the president officiate the groundbreaking ceremony of the G47 Tower, a 50-story building developed by the Council of Governors at a cost of 5 billion shillings. The building will host the COG offices for all 47 county governments, as well as offices for the Ministry of Devolution.
We as leaders and policymakers at both the national and county government levels must grapple with a basic question. How can we best strike the delicate balance between the public health imperatives of combating COVID-19 on the one hand, and the need to secure livelihoods and economic vitality on the other? We must rethink our strategies and identify ways in which we can turn this moment of adversity into a moment of opportunity. How can we, as Kenya, bounce back better and stronger in a post-COVID-19 environment, taking advantage of the lessons, innovations, and resilience that this crisis has unearthed? As we do this, we must keep in mind the following pertinent questions and issues. We must ask ourselves, what if international borders are once again closed and a fresh round of extreme restrictions on the international movement of goods and purposes are once again imposed? How shall we react? What if the current COVID-19 status quo prevails for longer than expected? And how ready is our nation's healthcare system, our supporting infrastructure, and our human resource base? How ready are we in the event of an emergence of a similar public health emergency sometime in the future?
And the target of this strategy is to ensure that incentives, investment, programs are targeted at the grassroots, at the lowest possible units, which will give us the opportunity to ensure that the partnership between national and county governments, especially on matters of provision of water, on matters of housing, and on matters of agro-processing, value addition, and industrialization.
In other news, imagine being an 18-year-old single teenage mother struggling to raise your 7-month-old baby, and as if that is not enough, you're forced to foster 6 other children, the youngest being 2 months after the sudden death of your mother. This is a story of Lucy Wanjiku, who is raising 8 children on her own with the help from relatives and friends. At the heart of Dandora, Canaan, Korogosho slum sits a single iron sheet room. This is what Lucy Wangoi calls home. The 18-year-old teen mother lives here with 7 children, 6 of whom are her younger siblings whom she was forced to care for after her mother passed away, leaving her to care for them.
Kurudi shule, lakini jukumu ni kwangu juu. Nimeacha watoto wawili na tuko watoto wa 7 na tunaomba usaidizi wa Kenya, mtusaidie, naomba.
According to Lucy, it has been a struggle raising her new foster family as well as her own.
Wameachwa wa miezi 2, wa mama yake ameaga, na huyu msichana naye ako na mtoto wa miezi 7. Na huyu msichana huyu ananyonyesha, ana shida, analalamika ati huyu mtoto hapati maziwa ya kutosha kunyonyesha hao watoto wawili. Kuna maziwa inakuanga ya mkebe. Hii nani? Mtu ako na uwezo anaweza tusaidia tupatie huyu mtoto. Na ni family ya watoto 7. Ule mkubwa ako na miaka 24. Ule mdogo ako na mwezi, ako na miezi 2, ule ameachwa na hakuna baba na hakuna mama.
Lucy, who is breastfeeding her 7-month-old baby, is also forced to breastfeed her 2-month-old sibling.
Siwezi make kunyonyesha watoto wawili. Sasa mimi ningeomba kama kuna maziwa mimi yani mtu akanisaidia na nibaye maziwa nizalea mtoto juu. Umekunyonyesha watoto wawili ni shida na pia watanimaliza.
Most of the time, she says she is forced to rely on donations from well-wishers, which are not enough to sustain her. According to her neighbors, they have strived to assist where they can, adding that they too are struggling to help the family.
Ni watoto mayatima na wako 7. Na kuna shida juu mtu mwenye tu anajisikia tu ako na roho safi ndiye anakujaga analeta unga kasukari ili waweze kuishi. Juu hata kuishi mahali wanaishi na shida. Juu hata nyumba yenyewe hata wako na deni. Na ningewaomba wana Kenya mwenye tu ataguzwa asaidie tu iboma na usaidizi hata kama ni mahali ya kuishi waweze kupata tu mapato mazuri, agarau hawa watoto wasaidiwe.
Lakini uwezo hiyo kubwa ya chakula, mavazi, mashule hatuwezi. Tafadhali tungewaomba, tumewatuma na tunaomba kazi iwezekanavyo iweze kufanyika haraka. Juu unajua tumbo igojei.
Lucy is now appealing to well-wishers to intervene and offer assistance to enable her care for her siblings.
Kama hiyo maziwa, nyumba, maisha yetu ibadilike, shule watoto wetu wasome. Sasa tuko 7. Kama tunategemeanga brother yetu anabebanga watu na bodaboda yenye anapata anatulipia takani nyumba anatulisha na kona kwake. Nofia Januari ndio imefika, watoto wanafaa kurudi shule.
To reach the family, call 0724 026 614. To reach the family, call 0724 026 614. Account name Kevin Kamau. Now, in a separate matter, parents and guardians in Lloyd Toktok Kajiado sub-county are decrying an increase in teenage pregnancies, early marriage and female genital mutilation since the advent of the pandemic. The parents are calling on the government to step up awareness campaigns and ensure those found violating the law are held accountable.
Kata FGM, Katisha FGM.
Lloyd Toktok Kajiado South Sub-County. An inter-villages teenager sensitization forum against teen sex, drug abuse and FGM is ongoing. It is here that a section of parents and guardians lamented over an increase in teenage pregnancies and female genital mutilation, which they are attributing to the interrupted school calendar due to the pandemic.
Tumepata matatizo mengi sana. Watoto kwanza wameolewa, wengi wamezaa nyumbani, wengi wamepata mimba. Kwa hivyo changamoto tunaye, vijana wengi wametoroka nyumbani.
Ukeketaji wa wasichana. Ndio tunamwambia serikali yetu utusaidie, kwa sababu ni wakati ya corona, watoto wako manyumbani na anapata shida nyingi sana, kwa sababu wengi wamepata mimba kwa sababu wamekaa muda mrefu nyumbani.
According to the group, come January, there may be increased cases of school dropout due to the number of girls who are currently expectant. This even as they pointed out that FGM was slowly creeping back into the society despite the government's stringent measures to curb the vice, adding that the cases of alcohol and drug abuse have also been on the rise.
Changamoto ile tunaye hasa wakati tangu corona ianze ni vijana pia kuingia katika ngono za mapema, madawa za kulevya.
They are calling on the government to put in place measures to sensitize the youth against FGM, early marriages and drug abuse. A row pitting licensed fishermen against illegal fishermen has erupted in Lake Naivasha, leaving scores injured, a boat torched and fishing operations paralyzed in some of the beaches. According to Kamere Landing Beach chairperson Wesley Kimutai, a group of poachers attacked 4 fishermen using crude weapons, seriously injuring one of them.
Simmering tensions between rival groups in Lake Naivasha have boiled over, leaving scores nursing injuries and fishing equipment destroyed. At the center of the row is frequent bloody attacks and theft of fish by illegal fishermen, popularly known as poachers, in the last couple of months.
Kuna wale wamekuja na mapanga kusudi ya kuiba. Sasa unaona sasa wale wanataka samaki. Hawana nyavu, but they want fish.
Licensed fishermen now want the national government to take over control of the troubled water body, accusing the Nakuru County government of failing in its mandate.
Wale waweza kuwajeruhi kwa kuwakata na panga, na hiyo ndio unaona hasira yenye watu wako nayo hapa, ya kwamba wanauliza je, ilikuwa aje watu wao wakapigwa na ili hali walikuwa kazi yao ya kawaida.
Karen Achieng, a fish trader at the lake, warning of a bloody clash between the fishermen and the poachers if security officers fail to intervene.
Na hii bahari ikichafuka, vijana, wamama na wajane hapa watakosa kazi.
Naivasha Sub-County Commissioner Mutua Kisilu says a multi-agency security team has been informed to deal with the poachers. Yusufar, Channel 1 News.
Now, property of unknown value was destroyed following an inferno at a building in Nyamataro, Kisii County. The fire whose cause is yet to be established is reported to have started at around 3:30 a.m. on Friday. Now, residents are accusing the county firefighters of slow response, resulting in extensive damages to the building. The owner of the building is now calling on police to investigate the cause of the fire.
Dawa, kuna makaratasi ya kuprinti picha ilikuwa ndani, kuna mashini zangu zilikuwa ndani, kuna tiles za kutenga nyumba zilikuwa ndani, vitu ya 5 million, over 5 million, actually over 5 million. I've lost a lot of things zenye zilikuwa ndani. Sasa nauliza korofa mwenye kuna korofa ndio ataweza saidiwa. Na hiyo ndio ilikuwa tegemeo yangu. Na kila kitu nilikuwa natoa hapa. Sasa nimepaki tu huji kabisa kama mtu hana nguo.
Alafu wanakuja asubuhi badala watuambie mbona hawakuji mapema, alafu wanaanza kutuliza eti hiyo ni gorofa iliungua. Sasa jamani, nauliza watu wa Kisii County Government wa fire extinguisher, mbona hamwezi saidia mtu wakati ako na shida?
Walilotuuliza ni kwamba ni gorofa inaungua ama ni nyumba gani inaungua. Wakati waliingia hapa ilikuwa 1:30 na tulikuwa tumeshamaliza kuzima moto. Mwenyewe ndiye akaweza kukadiria hasara yote.
Ni file petition kwa wale wote wa county ya Kisii wamekuwa affected na moto, wakuwe compensated na county government kwa sababu wanalipa kwa fire. Kwa hivyo ni lazima wasaidiwe.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua free. Shilingi 2 unaweza nunua micro. Shilingi 5 unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16, kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
This weekend
on KBC Channel 1.
Hey girl, you're killing it today. Going from being the killing who I will never kill. What are you talking about?
Kamene, she means you dress really nicely. Kwani, what's the occasion?
I wish I'd carried my hammer today. I would have utilized it on you.
I hope you studied well.
Of course, yes. Do you think I'm stupid?
Should I spill it out? You know you are.
And if then, why can't you just another partnership?
Oh my God, how I wish I can.
Pamiso. Hey, as if you know what it means to be a friend.
And that is the problem with you women. Why is it so hard for you people to move on?
Clearly, I did. Like it never happened.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Welcome back, and on news making headlines in the business world, the Kenya sugar industry has received another lifeline after the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa extended the sugar import safeguards by 2 years. The new safeguards are expected to start in February next year following the lapse of the current import protection measures.
Kenya has been seeking sugar import extension safeguards since the year 2002, promising to reform the sugar industry to make it profitable and more efficient. However, every passing year, the industry has continued to sink deeper into mess. A state-proposed privatization of 5 loss-making public sugar companies is still mired in legal and political confusion because of varied interest. During the COMESA Council of Ministers' 41st meeting, the ministers urged Kenya to share details of its sugar deficit with other member states by December 30th, 2020. Kenya appealed to COMESA technical committees and requested for a 2-year extension after the current one lapses. The Ministerial Council urged Kenya to give preference to sugar originating from COMESA when seeking to plug its deficit. Despite many years of failed privatization plans, the government in July this year jump-started the process of selling its shareholding in Chemelil, Mohoroni, Miwani, Nzoia and South Nyanza sugar companies to private investors. The plan is facing resistance from county government and sugar farmers who claim they stand to lose in the process. The 5 sugar millers owe farmers more than 10 billion shillings in unpaid cane deliveries. According to the Sugar Directorate, Kenya produced 441,000 tons of sugar against consumption levels of 1.1 million tons, leading to a deficit of close to 700,000 tons. The COMESA safeguards allows Kenya to maintain a 350,000 ton ceiling on duty-free sugar imports from its 19-member trading bloc. O'Brien came in for business, lunchtime.
Away from that, devolved units have been urged to come up with policies and regulatory frameworks that enable cost-effective internet connectivity in the counties. ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru says county governments have an obligation to bolster Kenya's internet expansion programs so as to overcome service delivery challenges exacerbated by COVID-19 through technology.
The Communications Authority reported that internet users in Kenya stood at 22.9 million users in January 2020. The numbers show an increase of 3.2 million, representing a 16% upward change between 2019 and 2020.
We are able to demonstrate to the country and to the world that we as a country are ahead and that we can use technology to transform the way we do things, and especially during this time of COVID.
This one was a game changer in as far as the COVID-19 was concerned.
While officiating the launch of a teleconferencing facility at the Nyeri County Assembly grounds, ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru added devolved units can contribute towards enabling the country to achieve broad internet coverage by firstly waiving the charges that are usually levied to service providers when rolling out their internet infrastructure.
I am hoping that all other county assemblies are going to follow Nyeri
At the same time, Musheru said COVID-19 pandemic has impacted negatively on service delivery in both levels of government, adding that appropriate technology must be deployed to ensure minimal interruptions in the delivery of public service on both the county and the national levels.
There's a lot of facilities for youth and the digital economy. The digital economy will move us forward in a big way.
Alan Aoko, Channel 1 Business.
The 200 million shilling Hola integrated fruit processing factory is set for commissioning early next year to start commercial production of mango juice. Now, the factory would be operated by the Coast Development Authority, has the capacity to process 30 metric tons of mangoes a day, employing mango collectors serving the plan according to the Coast Development Authority.
The Coast Development Authority Chair Kazungu Kambi says the upgrading of the fruit processing factory will in the long run improve farmers' livelihoods and also create jobs for locals.
This factory alone is going to employ about 100 people, and we did agree as an institution that the first call of the people to be employed are going to come from this district.
The setting up of the fruit processing plant was a step in the right direction, according to Kambi, and would fit well into the government's Big Four agenda of expanding Kenya's manufacturing base.
We're also going to enhance revenue collection, because those who are going to be employed are also going to pay a tax in form of revenues to the government. And also, we are going to reduce poverty.
Plans are underway to upgrade the factory into a multi-fruit juice facility to include processing pineapples and other fruits grown locally in the region. The new factory will add value through the production of fruit juice, reduce post-harvest losses, which is good news for the residents of Tana River, who grow plenty of mangoes and other fruits but have no viable market.
Kenyans have to brace for tough times ahead of the National Treasury plans to reinstate old tax rates on pay and VAT from January 1st. According to Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani, government revenues dipped by 65 billion shillings following the introduction of the tax breaks to cushion Kenyans from COVID-19 disruptions.
Festive mood engulfs the country. Kenyans have to exercise caution in their spending habits after Treasury revealed plans to abolish breaks introduced to cushion Kenyans from vagaries of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a statement, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani says the breaks have seen the government revenue dip by 65 billion shillings. As such, the monthly pay-as-you-earn deducted from salaried employees will revert to 30% from 25% in January. The government is also expected to revert value-added tax to 16% from the current 14%, meaning the prices of fuel, food, drugs and other essential commodities is likely to increase. Further, effective 1st of January 2021, corporate tax rates revert to 30% from the current 25%, while individual income tax rate reverts to 30% from the current 25%. However, low-income earners will be cushioned from high taxes, with workers earning less than 24,000 continue to enjoy the current tax break. Currently, Kenya is walking a tightrope with a disbursed and outstanding public debt stock, including guaranteed debt, standing at 7.12 trillion shillings against a debt ceiling of 9 trillion shillings, and as such, the exchequer is expected to continue tightening the news. Regina Manyara reporting for Channel 1 Business.
The U.S. Department of Justice is discussing a possible deal with Huawei's finance chief Meng Wanzhou. Now, the deal would reportedly let Meng return to China from Canada, where she was arrested in 2018. She would be required to admit wrongdoing in the case, according to the Wall Street Journal, which first reported the possible deal. Here are the highlights in the Global Business Roundup.
Meng faces U.S. charges over alleged violations of sanctions on Iran. The bank fraud charges are for allegedly misleading banking and financial services organization HSBC in a way that might lead it to break U.S. sanctions on Iran. This week marks 2 years since Meng was arrested on a U.S. warrant while she was changing planes in Vancouver. Since then, she has been fighting extradition to the U.S. to face trial. She is currently on bail and not allowed to leave Vancouver, where she has a home. Meng does not think she did anything wrong and so is reportedly reluctant to make admissions that she does not think are true. Meanwhile, mass media and entertainment company Warner Bros. Has escalated tensions between Hollywood's studios and US cinemas with a decision to make all releases available to stream as soon as they hit the big screen. The move will enable film fans to watch the forthcoming sci-fi epic Dune and Matrix sequel on HBO Max at the same time as their cinema release. Typically, new releases are shown exclusively at cinemas for months. But with many cinemas shut due to the virus, studio revenues have plunged. As a result, Warner Bros. Said all of its 2021 releases will go straight to HBO Max, the streaming service owned by its ultimate parent company, AT&T. And the National Aeronautics and Space Administration NASA is paying a company $1 to collect rocks from the moon after it was accepted as a winning bidder. On a Thursday, Lunar Outpost was awarded a contract to collect samples for the U.S. Space Agency. It is one of 4 contracts awarded by NASA under its low-cost Lunar Resource Collection Program. The other winning bidders were California-based Masten Space Systems and Tokyo-based iSpace, along with its European subsidiary. NASA will be paying the companies for individual collections of lunar legolith or moon soil between 50 grams and 500 grams in weight. Alan Auko, Channel One Business.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings?